It may have been Winter X Games 2012, but the number heard echoing off the slopes of Aspen was 100, as Superpipe gold medalist Shaun White earns the first perfect score in the history of the games.
Perfect indeed, and also conditions were almost too perfect on the other side of the world, where the opening day of the Volcom Pipe Pro saw the top pipeline surfers take on a dangerously massive swell that resulted in waves topping the 20-foot mark.
Yeah, skateboarding's age-old battle. Is it selling out or buying in? Paul Zitzer and P-Rod break down who's getting the big bucks and why.
It all starts right now. You're inside Sports.
A perfect 100, the first time ever in the history of Superpipe riding.
What would be the coolest thing that I could do? Totally thinking outside the box, and Travis did that with Supernatural.
Persistence, not giving up. Start from grassroots, where they started off only supporting the core, and actually learn that you gotta support the industry, and then the industry will take you in.
This is Inside Sports. I'm Pat Parnell.
And I'm Angela Sun. Whether it was setting records in Aspen or big waves on the North Shore, it was a huge week in the world of action sports.
And the #1 reason to stay in this past weekend, simple. Winter X Games 2012. Records were shattered, bones were broken, but every fan was in agreement. This was one for the books. A contest that you literally had to see to believe.
Forrest Bailey, Winter X Games snowboard street champ.
He's pumping up the crowd. Colton Moore just to go, and he is on top of the world right now.
Takes out Vaultier. The old sheriff is back in town. The Viking princess of Norway claims gold. Nick Baumgartner, and all kinds of chaos ensues.
Kelly Clark clearly showing why she is the most dominant woman in snowboarding.
Dominic Maltais left little doubt of who the fastest lady on the mountain was this year.
McMorris looking at double gold. For Jamie Anderson, 95.33.
Chris Del Bosco, experience rules today.
It is amazing. A perfect 100, the first time ever in the history of Superpipe riding.
The men's snowboarding events exceeded everybody's expectations, and the evolution of the sport shows no signs of slowing down.
Even veteran snowboarder and Olympic medalist J.J. Thomas was blown away as he witnessed the battles in Superpipe, slopestyle, and big air.
Mark McMorris going for the triple. Does he have enough time?
This year, snowboarding big air was probably the best event I saw with my eyes. I cannot believe the things these guys were doing. This event was huge in the 90s, big in the early 2000s. We haven't seen a lot of it since then.
Mark McMorris going for the triple. If you ask, they will deliver.
Obviously, Mark McMorris was the winner there doing a backside triple cork. But I want to point out, Torstein Horgmo, he did, in my mind, the best triple cork ever done in a contest on live TV. Ever. That thing was a thing of beauty. The way he took off, held his grab through the air, and put down the landing gear. I never thought I'd see a triple cork in a big air contest, ever. We saw two. What's the future gonna hold? I don't know, but it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to watch. Going into this half-pipe event, I'm pretty sure it was all eyes on Shaun White, iPod, and Louis Vito. Those three have been battling on a different level all season, and they did not disappoint. Louis Vito came into this event all or nothing. He wanted to do 4 doubles in 1 run. This has never been done before. Didn't make the last hit, probably cost him a medal, but nonetheless, he's going down in history. First kid ever to do 4 back-to-back doubles. iPod came out, delivered, silver medal. He just goes huge and he lays it down at night. It's icy, totally impressed. Shaun White came out there, got a perfect score of 100. People have been asking me, do you think he deserved that? Was that really a 100? I'm gonna say yes. I've never seen a run like that. He put it down flawlessly. He did a trick we've never seen, back-to-back 12s, give the guy 100. I really backed it, blew my mind, put it in the books, gold medal. Well, some people say, hey, We're sick of watching the Shaun White show. When's someone going to beat him? Can anyone beat him? Here's my thoughts. As long as Shaun is dedicated and he wants to win, he's going to stay on top for as long as he wants. He is untouchable right now. He's been on a hot streak for like 15 years. I got on a hot streak for a month. That was it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's never going to be a Shaun White ever again. He, so far, in my mind, is the best competitive snowboarder to ever put his boots on and get on a hill. Because we're watching a great thing go down. I mean, this is, I almost want to say it's beyond Michael Jordan. It's beyond whatever, Kobe. This is some next level athletics you're seeing, and I don't think you're ever going to see an athlete in the sport of snowboarding do what he's doing with the sport. Don't hate on Shaun White, you know, just sit back, watch the show, and take it for what it is. Because one day, you know, it'll come to an end, and we'll be going, man, what's going on now? You know, no one wearing zebra pants, going 20 feet out of the half pipe, doing back-to-back 12. So take it in while it's here, and that's that.
JJ's got it right. We are definitely witnessing snowboard history.
Yes, I might not be able to back the zebra cheetah snuggle cut pants at Shaun Sports, but Chebra, but I definitely back the riding. And the good news for fans of ski, the competitors definitely stepped it up for big air. And the showdown in slopestyle, the style cat himself, Tom Wallish, holding it down, may I say.
In slopestyle. And our insider Luke Van Valen takes us through some of the big surprises in free ski.
Welcome out to another beautiful day here in Aspen, Colorado. The sights and sounds all around us of the 2012 Winter X Games. And this, of course, is your recap.
Tom Wallish is on fire right now.
I'm Luke Van Dalen. I'm going to be letting you know kind of what went down in free skiing this past week. We saw the big air. Now, the big air was in many ways kind of made to be a triples jump. Unfortunately, when everyone arrived and saw how big the jump was earlier in the week, they decided to change it and make it a little bit smaller. Well, unfortunately, things got a little bit too small. No triples on the free skiing side. Bobby Brown took the night, definitely deserved it. Huge tricks, very smooth throughout. The Medal of Valor for me goes to Jossie Wells, getting out there and skiing like we know he can. Also big ups to Kai Mahler for that second place spot, the youngster from Switzerland. Big things. Beyond that, it was kind of a big week for the ladies, kind of the week of the 1080.
1080! My goodness.
Roz Grunewald taking it up top, and of course a huge tribute to Sarah Burke, the loss of her. We had a big monster party last night, and there was a toast with over 500 people to Sarah Burke, which was also totally awesome. We also had Kaya Tursky switch 10 in slopestyle. On the men's side, big things in the Superpipe. Kevin Roland might have still taken it and got the three-peat. Unfortunately, he went down on his third run.
Double court twisting, and he's down.
And that's it.
He was going to go dub 12, right side double flare, and then he was going to bring a very new and progressive trick that only he and Matt Margetts have done in competition, and that's the left side double down the pipe flat spin 900. If Roland would have thrown that down, I think he would have had it. Torniator Wallace came out. He could have done a better run, in my personal opinion. He sort of held back. I think that when it comes to free skiing, you really have to plan that run, especially in Superpipe, to be something that the judges are truly going to like. Better luck to him next year. But big thanks, David Wise, the forefront skier, on top. Props. Unbelievable guy. He didn't even throw out all his tricks. His colors flying high. Slope style, Tom Wallish, domination. Bottom line, it's going to be hard to beat him in the near future. I'm Luke Van Valen, and this has been Free Skiing Recap of Winter X Games 2012.
Women's snowboard superpipe belonged to one person and one person only. Olympic gold medalist Kelly Clark took home her 4th X Games gold with a 93.66, a full 10 points ahead of second place finisher Elena Height.
Extending her win streak to 13, Clark also defused the expected showdown against local hero Gretchen Bleiler. Clark's unanswered frontside 1080s took both Bleiler and Australian Tora Bright out of the running, with defending Olympic gold medalist Bright ending her X Games run in a disappointing 7th place.
It's a pretty short list of athletes that have dominated an event like Kelly Clark. So Pat, what is she doing that they're not, and is there anyone that can challenge her?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, this year's Winter X, no one truly challenged her, but the good news is there's talent out there. Look at Tora Bright, for instance. Switch and rotational capability. She is the defending gold medalist. Then you take the height and the explosive factor of riders like Hannah Teeter and Gretchen Bleiler. And let's not forget Spain's Crawl Castellet. I can say this, the future of women's snowboarding has never looked stronger. Let's take a look at the final results from the men's and women's super pipe at Winter X Games 2012. For the men, Shaun White, as we mentioned, that stellar performance with the perfect 100. Now one of 3 athletes to 5-peat at Winter X, the other being Nate Holland in Snowboarder X and Tucker Hibbert in Snowcross. And the silver men's snowboard super pipe goes to Yuri Polachikov, rounding out the top 3, the high stratospheric airs of Japanese rider Ryo Aono. Other notable mentions, Louis Vito, we salute him, going for 4 back-to-back double combinations. The stylish Scotty Lago in 15th, and Danny Davis continues his X Games curse with a disappointing 16th overall finish.
And in the women's snowboard superpipe, of course, the unstoppable Kelly Clark takes gold. With the silver, Elena Height. And rounding out the podium, Hannah Teeter takes the bronze. Some other notable mentions, hometown girl Gretchen Bleiler, who just missed the podium, came in 4th place. China's Xu Tongkai makes her Winter X Games debut in 6th, and Tora Bright finishes with a disappointing 7th. Next up in surf, we head to the north shore of Oahu, where Pipeline unleashes its fury on the surfers of the Volcom Pipe Pro.
And you know what they say, do what you love and the money will follow, but what if you love skateboarding? The dollars that drive skate and the delicate balance to decide how much is too much. Paul Zitzer and P-Rod give us their inside take, coming up.
At the Volcom Pipe Pro, prayers for surf were answered. A little too much. With a swell that clearly over-delivered, conditions declared too dangerous, with third reef closeouts and cleanup sets commonplace. Surfing's best were forced to sit and wait until size and condition cooperated.
And they did. Kind of. The fine line between survival and success, we'll call it risk management. Simultaneously, psyched and scared, all the competitors were forced to channel their inner warrior to rise above the challenging swell. And for a few that gauged it right, they bagged some of the best barrels of their life. Inspirational performance by Alex Gray, nursing a serious knee injury wrapped in duct tape. He met 2 heinous wipeouts and still managed to advance. Defending Pipe Pro champ John Florence, also battered and bruised with a near separated finger, showed resilience and manhandled his way to get to later rounds. And the good news is perfect 10s were abundant. Dylan Graves proving that Puerto Rico is a great training ground for pipe.
Driving, still going, and he's going to come out.
New York's own Balram Stack.
Up, driving, traveling, there we go.
Hawaiian born and bred Dusty Payne. But as pipe does, it does not discriminate. And it dished out some serious punishment.
Lead drop.
Safe to say, every competitor earned their right to be called a warrior.
We'll have all the Volcom Pipe Pro results next time on Inside AlliSports.
Now, skateboarding has a long tradition of maintaining its authenticity and its ability to keep corporations from getting a piece of the pie, until now.
Is corporate sponsorship an essential element in skateboarding? Simply put, does it help or hurt?
Never short on opinions and never afraid to share them, Paul Zitzer weighs in.
Literally, one of the very first bits of skate news to come across the wires this year was the announcement that Shaun Malto had signed with Nike.
I would love to announce that Shaun Malto is on Nike SB!
But the Malto announcement was really only surprising due to the months of speculation and rumors about whether he was going to be making his millions off Adidas or DC. Now, I think at this point, Nike's whole skate program has built enough momentum and has enough respect that they could probably land somebody like Malto at a discount to some of the other brands. Not that that's probably the case, but you could say whatever you want about these big non-skate background having companies running skateboarding and swooping up the top dudes with massive budgets and leaving the smaller favorites like Lakai, DVS, and Etnies high and dry. The reality is that they can't get into skateboarding unless we let them into skateboarding, and we've totally let them in. But it's for good reason. Nike doesn't just try to sell us a bunch of rebranded basketball shoes and then funnel the money into Frisbee golf. They support what we're doing, and in a lot of ways, they're doing a better job of it than the skate companies do. Now, granted, they have about 1 billion times more resources to do it, but that's because they're awesome. As long as companies are supporting skateboarding in the ways that we think they should be supporting skateboarding, like giving us videos like the SB Chronicles, sponsoring contests like Tampa Am and Tampa Pro, paying their riders, doing tours and demos, putting up skate parks and all of that stuff, then good for them and good for us. So if we're talking about who's down to back Nike, you could sign me up. Or in this case, lace me up. Oh, and one more thing. They make a pretty good pair of skate shoes.
After multiple failed attempts to gain core allegiance, how did Nike get skaters to finally agree to just do it? We took our question straight to one of the guys who should know best, X Games gold medalist and influential member of Team Nike SB, Paul Rodriguez.
Yeah. Listen, positive over negative.
Because I do believe in positivity.
Positive over negative.
Persistence. Persistence, not giving up. You know, Nike's had a few runs at skateboarding that weren't successful. I think as a whole, they were smart enough to learn from those mistakes and eventually find the right path. Skaters were a bit more stubborn, a bit more protective of what we do. So when that approach didn't work, it was more like, okay, let's start from grassroots, where they started off only supporting the core and actually learn that you gotta support the industry, and then the industry will take you in. And look at the recent additions to the team, and you'll see that they've really won the skating crowd over. Hands down, Eric Costin. He's my favorite guy. Before he was on Nike, before I even had one sponsor of my own, he's really like a skater, true to the industry, man. He's really done every single thing right throughout his whole career. So for him to be on Nike validates that Nike has done it right this time, because otherwise he wouldn't have given them the time of day. My first shoes as a baby was, Jordans. So for me, growing up in the era of Michael Jordan being the pinnacle athlete of the world, I'd have to say the Jordan brand is, one of my favorite parts of Nike, but I can't say a for sure favorite, Of course, I'm happy with the Paul Rodriguez line of shoes and clothing and whatnot. I've always liked the Cortezes because I come from Mexican descent, and my Cholo cousins would always wear it, dude. I have cousins that to this day he hasn't had a different pair of shoes since I can remember. Always Cortezes, so I always had an affinity for those. And I'm totally not answering your question properly, but that's the way I can answer it. And the list goes on, man.
Coming up, are the mental and physical demands placed on athletes affecting their performance?
And Red Bull is about to get supernatural by dropping the world's best snowboarders in the middle of the wilderness and turning them loose. Stay with us.
Hey, I'm Todd Richards. Welcome to my office. And I'd like to remind you to subscribe to the AlliSports channel on YouTube, where you'll find the latest up-to-the-minute action sports content posted daily. On Inside AlliSports, hosts cover the biggest stories in action sports from all over the globe, with analysis from experts in surf, skate, snowboarding, BMX, and pretty much anything else that races, rides, or flies. We'll also give you a behind-the-scenes take of these unique athletes and their lifestyles. We go beyond the competition and see the fun, creativity, and innovation that fuels their passions. Whatever you do, don't even think about missing Awesome on Ally, hosted by a pretty awesome, slightly older guy named Todd Richards.
This is where the magic happens.
And you get to come with me and be part of the action. It's the AlliSports channel on YouTube. Get online right now and subscribe. Go to www.allisports.com for more information. See all the favorite action sports videos right here.
Here's the breakdown of the latest in sports with Inside News.
At the AMA Supercross stop in Oakland on January 29th, Yamaha's James Bubba Stewart earned the big win, putting him in 4th place overall behind Chad Reed and Ryan Dungey.
Defending champion Brian Villapoto came in 3rd behind Reed and is also 3rd in the overall standings. Next stop is in Anaheim on February 4th. To what extent do the extreme physical and mental demands inflicted upon athletes impact their performance? Analyst Todd Richards gives us his inside look.
So here we are in the middle of the season. These guys, the competitors, have seen 4, maybe 5 major contests thus far. So what does it take for these guys to actually make it through a season? Well, first and foremost, landing your runs and not landing with your back or your face or piling into the flat bottom. Danny Davis, for one, he's taken some serious hits this year so far.
Ouch. But I keep saying, as the sun has gone down, that wall, it is rock hard. As right there, Danny Davis making contact with the lip. Sounds like he's okay, but he's going to be feeling that one in the morning.
It's kind of hard to come back from something like that. If you've been taking the beating early season really hard, it becomes very difficult. Not only the physical aspect of the sport, but the mental fatigue and the emotional fatigue that comes along with a full contest season. You're talking about being on the road, you're talking about not sleeping in your own bed, you know, you're just constantly going. It's hard to ignore the partying, it's hard to ignore the good times and to go to bed early, to get yourself into a rhythm enough to be rested and ready for the next event that's happening the following weekend. I mean, up to 10 contests in a row, but the guys that are going to finish on top towards the end of the season are the ones that are adhering to that strict schedule.
With the exponential progression of snowboarding and its growing focus on tricks and technical execution, there has been a call to return to the grassroots of the sport and level the playing field, literally. Travis Rice has conceived one of the most ambitious undertakings in snowboarding history, and it's about to go supernatural.
Supernatural is unlike any other contest that I've ever competed in. I guess I could tell you better after I do compete in it, but it's going to be insane. I mean, there's never been a contest before where it's been all free riding, you know what I mean? Man-made features built in the summer, and then they just let it snow. It's what you dream of. You're like, all right, what would be the coolest thing that I could do? You know, totally thinking outside the box, and Travis did that with Supernatural. I'm really excited to see Nicholas Mueller ride. You know, he's my mentor when it comes to backcountry riding and stuff. And in my eyes, he's the best snowboarder in the world. It's funny. I mean, like, I'm here at X Games right now riding half pipe, and you know, a hard icy half pipe, and then I got to totally switch gears to going out and riding, hopefully, waist deep powder.
Be sure to look for Red Bull Supernatural to air on NBC in March.
Thanks for checking us out again on Inside AlliSports, your base camp for action sports. You can keep up with the latest by following us on Twitter at AlliSports or tweet us at #InsideAlliSports.
And make sure you subscribe to Ally Sports Network and check out all the shows on the Ally Sports channel here on YouTube. This is Pat Parnell.
And I'm Angela Sun for Inside AlliSports. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.